Sir, what according to your view is, should, after all these allegations, human rights allegations and all the, even after 2 years or 3 years of international insistence on implementing LLRC or a fair national, international inquiry on the war crimes and allegations, do you think Sri Lanka should first of all host this summit, Commonwealth Summit?
Actually, I think this is too early for Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka has to get its name cleared in a lot of points today. We have seen journalists being killed, we have seen journalists going missing. We have even today, the day you are interviewing me, a journalist has been caught in Kathangudi, right, by the police going and putting ganja in his house. They take it with them, put it and arrest the man. Now this incident in Kathangudi especially, where a deputy minister who is into that business, he has been doing this against all his rival people in the country. So even today in the morning, I had to call the DIG Eastern. He is in Trincomalee, and tell him, what is this? A journalist has been caught like this, because the journalist has been writing bad about the minister's son, who is involved in several other activities. So when he exposed him, the only way the minister can do is this same minister had tried this with other people to put me in trouble by telling him that I'll give you an Uzi, the weapon that was used by the LTT. I'll give you one of these weapons, please put it into the search vehicle and you get out. We'll see that this man is in trouble. So this is the attitude of some of the ministers also in the government. Sri Lanka has to get his name cleared. More than anything, we have today ended the war. The war is no more. But the war with the people is still on. The government is very vindictive. Now in my case, they, from 2010 up to today, they are trying every means to take me inside. Now I was on a 90 days detention, right? A similar person of my nature had been taken, and that person is still sentenced for 20 years. And he has finished 9 years and they are now going to pardon him. So this is, they only want to do that so that that person also joins them. All the corrupt fellows in the opposition are caught with some bad or wrong activities. They have been threatened with death sentence, or they have been threatened with court cases or police cases, so that they will immediately go and join the government. So that is where, so you can see a full corrupted government with all the international rogues and crooks inside. And every today Shogam, though it is Shogam, it is a Sogam to the it's a big Sogam to the people of Sri Lanka, because see, the fourth generation is also being pawned for Shogam. The amount of money they are spending without a tender, without any procedures, nothing, just because of Shogam, money is spent, all inferior quality things have been put on decorations.
So when you say the money is spent, the war-torn areas are not being rehabilitated, and by you being a former deputy mayor of Colombo, the Colombo is developing in big time. You know, the recent highway which was opened by Mahendra Rajapaksa. Like now, how do you see this? Like now, the needy is not being given anything.
The French government spends 4 million per kilometer, right? Sri Lankan government spends 1.8 billion per kilometer. See the difference?
What does this show?
This shows of corruption. This is full-time corruption. I always say the Rajapaksa regime started development for corruption. A government for development for corruption. That is the only aim that they have. That is why they go on. See this highway, this 26 kilometer highway, Exim Bank, that bank, this bank, 4 or 5 banks. In addition to the 40% put by the government, they have borrowed from 4 or 5 banks. So who is going to pay this money? It will come to a standstill soon after Shogam. Government will have no money even to pay the salaries of the government servants.
So do you mean to say this Commonwealth Summit is an extravaganza for the government? It's a burden on the people.
You see, it's only a fantasy. It's a fantasy to the Rajapaksa family, not to the country or the people. Nobody should think that this is going to bring some big thing. See, Shogam, the expenditure is not going to be borne by the Shogam Secretariat. It is that country's expenditure. No, there is nothing that is going to come. Now, for instance, you see, they are saying they are expecting the business community also to come to have business forum. Today, the Sri Lankan business community has not been looked after. What is the bloody use of bringing any other foreign fellow to come and do it here and ruin the environment of this country? See, yesterday, all the motor vehicle importers were stuck, and they were at a meeting and discussing how to close down the car sales in Sri Lanka and get to foreign countries. Because the government encouraged all the government officials with a permit. They gave everybody a permit, and earlier the procedure of previous governments, a permit has to be with the owner. The vehicle has to be with the owner for 5 years. After that only you can transfer. Here what happened? A family concern, a family friend who is also a big car importer and also a finance company director, chairman, for him all his vehicles were stuck without registration because this 3-year period came. From 5 years it was reduced to 3 years, 1 minute,
Right.
3 years. Then when they put that, the vehicle sales and the leasing finance all stopped. So immediately that was removed. Anybody who imports a vehicle can transfer it in the third man immediately. That is again another corruption. Right? So now, after that happened, and with this government coming, no money in the government, they are running down all the fellows who imported those vehicles.
So, in the 1960s and 80s, Sri Lankan as a state, the majority, Sinhala Buddhists, they went after the Tamils. Now, so that the Tamil resistance is not there, they're going after the Muslims. How do you see this? The chauvinism is gone, is increasing day by day.
See, I always said, the Sinhala community is a very loving community. 99.9%. But you have 1% extremist with the Rajapaksa family, along with them. Because they are encouraging this to happen. Now see, yesterday, the Kovil was destroyed completely in Damula. That same target of destroying the mosque. Now when the new development came, the plan, the mosque was coming right in front. So there was no problem. And the president also announced that the mosque will not be attacked or removed. But they attacked the mosque on that grounds that I resigned from the government, right? Because I gave him 24 hours notice that tomorrow 11 o'clock, 11:30 they are going to demolish this mosque. Please protect it. Then the reply the president gave me was, your bloody work, you Muslim buggers, all your bloody work is always going and building mosque. But I told him one thing, we Muslims or any other community buys anybody's land and then make a mosque, church or a kovil. We don't bloody go and put a statue on a culvert. We don't put a statue on a drain. We mean business and we respect our religion. Our religion is everything to us. So we have it at the right place. We don't go and put a Buddha statue where garbage is put. Why they go and put a Buddha statue? In future nobody will put garbage. So this attitude is not there. So this is why the tendency of the Jatike Helorme is that every lane must have a Buddha statue. So China is one country that is booming and giving them everything because they are benefited. With all these tax and all these things, they are doing all the business with the Rajapaksa family. So what they are doing is, they are pumping in so much of statues into this country. So every lane is going to have statues. So this is this thing that has come. That is why after the 83 rats against the Tamils, now they have started with the Muslims.
So do you mean to say that because of the Chinese intervention, because of the religious things, like China is intervening more into Sri Lanka?
Yeah, China, half of Sri Lanka is going to be China very soon. This is what we have told. And already Chinese families are already in Sri Lanka, married to Sri Lankan women, right? So the Chinese culture, everything is now coming in. So that is why you have so much of massage clinics coming up by the Chinese, right? Those are the good things that the Rajapaksa regiment has brought into this country.
As a Muslim and in the Muslim world, like how do they see this Muslim desecration happening in East and everywhere across Sri Lanka? What is your view on it?
See, discrimination is the biggest worry that I am having. Now, when the president won the war, he had a speech where he said, in future there is no Sri Lankan, Sinhalese, Hindus, Muslims or Christians. We are all Sri Lankans. We liked it. We welcomed it. But that was only by mouth. It was not meant for implementation. After that, tsunami came 5 years ago. You and I know that. The Sinhalese who were affected were built houses. The Tamils who were affected were built houses. The Muslims that were affected were built houses. 500 houses were built by the Saudi government. That houses have today dilapidated so badly that nobody can go and live there. And up to today, the Sri Lankan government did not ensure that these houses to be given to the Muslims. Nor the Saudi government has insisted why you have not given it. Because chomping around over goes to court and gets an injunction, you can't give these 500 houses to the Muslim. Why? Why this discrimination? So today, the tsunami victims are still living in wherever camps they were living, and the houses are still there. So this discrimination. Now if you take slave island, they are trying to demolish all the Muslim houses there. 99% of the Muslims are living there. They want to demolish all that and give it to your Tata company. Right?
Okay.
So this is the regiment plan.
Okay. So how do you see there is back home in India, there is a lot of protests against Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh participating in Commonwealth Summit, and what is if India doesn't participate? What if India participates? Is it a gain to China?
See, India not coming is not going to be any gain to China, because if Tata is not going to take the slave island project as Jayalalitha says, right? They are looking for somebody in Pakistan, because they know that people are today accusing the government that it is running away in China. They are running away in China. They are discussing with India. They are discussing with India, doing diplomatic ties are with India, but their economic ties are with China. This is an open secret, right? So this is their attitude. Wherever who gives more money, Sri Lankan government will be with them. So the problem has to be identified. Now see, the LTT problem was finished 4 years ago. The government promised the LLRC. When the Darusman report came, the Sri Lankan government told Darusman is a LTT diaspora program. We are not prepared to accept that. What we want to accept is a homegrown solution. This homegrown solution is the LLRC that was implemented. It was discussed and a solution found, and the document was handed over. Where is the implementation? See, for whom did the provincial council system come? It was for the minorities, right? So from 87, Indo-Sri Lanka Accord was signed by Rajiv Gandhi and J.R. Jayawardena. Up to today, only now government at this thing to have elections there because of the international pressure, not because they like it, right? And the Tamils have proven to the government of Sri Lanka that we stand united. When the Tamil paper itself reports that Jaffna you are going to get 12 seats, government getting 4 seats, but the people have turned it the other way by giving the TNA 14 seats and government 2 seats. Right? So this is even more than expectation of the Tamils. They have overwhelmingly got. But now it is the question of implementation. Okay. Now when Vigneshwaran came as Chief Minister, he was called a traitor, he was called a terrorist, I am called a terrorist, all minorities are today terrorists. Right? So LTT time also they are terrorists, now also they are terrorists, so they don't want the democratic process to take place.
Okay, fine sir. My last question is, the UN has stated that 40,000 more civilians have been killed during the war, and there are numbers coming out. So do you think after even after international pressure, international inquiry has not been made, even the home ground inquiry as in the LLRC has not been implemented, do you think no inquiry, no responsibility, no commitment, even after this, do you think there is going to be any reconciliation between the Tamils and Sinhalese? Do you think it's possible?
The Tamil and the Sinhalese reconciliation is there, but implementation of those proposals have to be done. See, there won't be in future, there won't be a problem, that we know. Where that 1% of some idiotic fellow who gets money from Norway, Buddhist monk who is working with the Norway, who is forming the Buddhabala Sena and all that, walking and dancing and all that, he himself cannot be called a monk. A monk is a person who has to be the most decent in his behavior, a more decent man in his talking, a more decent man in every aspect. That is what you call a monk, a religious leader. Here you have a monk who is a thug, who takes alcohol, who drives. A monk is not supposed to drive. He takes alcohol, he drives, he meets with an accident, he pays a fine of 12,000 rupees to court. How can he call him a monk? So the Sri Lankan government has recognized this monk as their hero, and everything is pumped onto him to do whatever the government agenda. Now see, when the question of halal died a natural death, after so many months, when the whole country is today talking about the casino, James Packer coming here, right? They want to introduce James Packer into Sri Lanka, so they want to divert the Sinhala community's attention towards halal.
Okay, how do you see this halal is when it will stop?
See, halal cannot be stopped. You in India know that how many people eat halal. Halal is something that somebody wants to eat can eat. He doesn't want to can avoid. So as a Muslim, we don't need the label halal. We know what is halal and what is haram. But people who are eating haram is today talking that halal should not be there. This is our problem. Because they don't know the basic concept. Today, they have not read their own Buddha's teachings. They call themselves a monk. But they come with a Quran in their hand. And Quran is something that you have to read from the top to bottom to understand. So, I don't know. Jnanasara is so ignorant towards that, he reads a little and then keeps shouting on television. So, this is the problem. This country can go forward only with the leadership that thinks that everybody is equal. Like, if he thinks that everybody is equal, if he treats everybody equally, all communities looked after properly, no mosque. See the danger. A similar interview was given by the president to Al Jazeera, where Jnanasara says, where is the mosque that has been demolished? I have the list. I gave the list to the leader of the opposition and he read it in parliament. And that is the document I sent to the UN. That document very clearly says where and where these mosques were attacked. Now, the president in his interview accepts that mosque has been attacked. But for all the attack of the mosque, he gives only one reason, which has never happened in this country. He has said, all these mosques have been attacked due to one Muslim person raping a 7-year-old girl. So this is a fabricated news and a news that no Sri Lanka knows about. So now, even after knowing it, yesterday at my press conference also I very clearly showed and asked the president, please name the person who was caught, which police station this has been reported and how action has been taken. We as Muslims must know. So that is where it stands. So this country can go forward only if the leadership changes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You need a change of leadership.
Thank you.